You are a visible minority. Were you personally offended by anything Don Cherry said last Saturday?
I wasn't offended by anything Don Cherry said.
David Menzies for the Rebel News here in downtown Toronto. Well, folks, I'm outside the corporate headquarters of Rogers. They are the owners of Sportsnet, which unceremoniously fired Don Cherry a couple of days ago. There are a lot of protesters out here voicing their displeasure of this. I'm going to go into the crowd and find out why they're taking a stand for Don Cherry.
Don did nothing wrong. Don did nothing wrong. Don did nothing wrong. Don did nothing wrong.
So, sir, what brings you out to this Don Cherry protest?
Well, I was watching on TV what happened with Don's statements, and at the time I never thought nothing of it, of course. And then 2 days later, it looked like it was quite organized, to be honest with you, the attack on him.
Do you think it was unfair what happened to him then?
I think it is unfair. I think that he meant well. He's a kind and generous man. He's represented hockey for many, many years. And I think maybe that he has said something that we should all take notice of. That maybe as Canadians in total, we are tending to forget on Remembrance Day those who served for our freedom.
Do you think this is a manufactured outrage?
It is. He offended no one. The difficulty is that Don Cherry is always gruff. When you take that gruffness and you add it to his words, I can see how they would misinterpret it. But his statement was absolutely neutral. He could have been just as easily. You could take it as him trying to encourage more inclusion. Could have been trying to encourage more immigrants to join into these things.
Now it says no Cherry, cancel your Rogers cable. Did you indeed cancel your Rogers service?
Absolutely. Yep.
What was the reaction when you told the person why you were canceling?
I just told him Don Cherry. Write down in comments, Don Cherry, and they'll know exactly what it means.
This is about November 11th, Remembrance Day. It shouldn't be about immigrants or racism. It should be about Remembrance Day, about the people that died for us, right? Unfortunately, we always have to turn to these people that are offended and what have you. We need to think about the people that died, put their lives on the line for us, not these people that are offended by his comments, unfortunately.
You know,
it might have been offensive. I agree with everything that he said. I can see how some people might take offense to it, but unfortunately, it has more to do with the people that died, Remembrance Day. That's what Canada's about.
And Don Cherry is real Canadian. Everybody should wear that. I'm immigrant myself.
Where are you from, ma'am?
Ukraine. And I wear it. And I speak English in public place. I love this country.
Don said people downtown. He said people in Mississauga. He was trying to unify everybody with a patriotic voice and a summons to rally the people in support of vets.
The milk and honey he's talking about is our democracy, our freedom to live in peace and in civility amongst each other. And those freedoms are protected by our veterans that fought for us. And I find it appalling that people conflate that with something on the lines of racism.
And Abdallah, that's what certain people are trying to make this all about, that Don Cherry's a racist, that Don Cherry's a bigot. You are a visible minority. Were you personally offended by anything Don Cherry said last Saturday?
I wasn't offended by anything Don Cherry said. I have family members that have served in World War I and World War II. My great-grandfather served for the Somalian Camel Corps for Britain in World War I, and my grandfather served for the same unit in World War II, and lost many friends, had to fight fascist Italy for the freedoms that we hold dear. So, like, even if I do or don't wear a poppy, I still honor him. And that's the thing, as immigrants, we need to realize that we don't need to differentiate ourselves as non-Canadians. We are Canadian. Once we come here and we plant our feet, we're Canadian. We're in it together for the long haul.
I really think Don Cherry is sorry.
Take some time.
Cherry is an idol to me, and I can't speak for other vets, but I don't watch hockey. But Don Cherry has done so much for the military and always supported us, and so I really think he's an idol.
Think with the online outrage, the number of signatures going on to petitions, that Sportsnet might have second thoughts and give Don Cherry a second chance?
I hope so. My signature's on there. So yes, that's what I'm here for. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're hoping. Yes, so he can continue the good work that he has done.
This is what happens. When you're conservative, when you have right-wing thinking, you get fired. But when Trudeau wears blackface, it's okay. So I have a child who is half black, and I'm conservative. How are we racist?
Well, you never know who you're going to meet at a Don Cherry protest, and I'm with Joe Warmington, the Scrawler, my all-time favorite media personality in the mainstream media. Joe, first things first, there's a few dozen people out here. I would say, given the legions of fans Grapes has, that's kind of a disappointing turnout. Do you think that a lot of people would like to have been here today, but if they're caught on camera and they're seen and supported Don Cherry, then who knows, maybe at their place of business, they're taken into the Human Resources office for the to walk the plank?
Well, there's no question. I mean, the emails that I've received, and you go through that yourself, have been saying that they want me fired and they're going to try to get me fired. And so just for writing in support of Don Cherry, so you can imagine somebody without, any kind of cachet, public cachet, that kind of thing, would be really nervous. I mean, I get paid to do this, so I take that risk every day, and it's always hard to do, so I don't really care. But someone that's afraid of losing their job, absolutely.
Now, Joe, the ostensible policy reason of this protest and the online protests and petitions, it's to get Don Cherry back into Coach's Corner. Is that a no-hoper, or do you think there's a Hail Mary way of this happening?
One way that he'll be back on Coach's Corner Saturday. They still got a day or two to make it happen, and that is for Ron MacLean to take the knife out of Don's back and to tell the management at the CBC and at Rogers that he's not comfortable with the way this has gone, and he's supporting his friend, and say, I want Don back. Ron MacLean is the only person that can make it happen. And it's not for Don Cherry and it's not for the fans that Ron MacLean needs to do that for, although they would both benefit. It's for Ron MacLean. Because if he doesn't do anything and he leaves it like this, he will be forever known as the guy that pushed his buddy, the guy that you talk about milk and honey. The milk and honey that Ron MacLean benefited from this man, Don Cherry, is like no one else in television. And so for him to stand back and to let this happen to his partner and his star is just mind-blowing, and he can fix it really easily by just telling them that he doesn't like the way this has gone and he wants them back. If you're only friends in good times, your friends are doing well and you're riding with them and you're bleeding on the sidewalk and your friend walks away from you like that to save your own butt, and that's what this is. And now we understand he's under pressure, but all it would take was for Ron MacLean to come out publicly and say he doesn't like the way this is, he wants Don back, and they would have to bring him back.
Well, folks, not a huge turnout here at the Rogers campus for the Don Cherry protest, but still, if you go onto social media, hundreds of thousands of people are weighing in on this, and we're part of that. Please, if you want to stand up for Don Cherry, go to our new petition. That's supportdoncherry.com. Supportdoncherry.com. Add your name to the petition, And when we get enough signatures, I'm going to come right back here to 1 Mount Pleasant Road and deliver it to whoever has the guts here at Rogers to accept that petition.